online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome back into the Penny Dreadful After Show right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Season 2 is finally upon us, and we are here recapping everything here, Penny Dreadful on AFTERBUZZ. I am your host, Bobby DeMuro, joined by Marisa Serafini, Roxy Striar, Alison Dean. Ladies, hello.
Hello, Bobby.
Alison, welcome. You'll be joining us on and off, I guess. Sarah's not here this week, so maybe we'll have you some more, but you're at least here today.
I know. At least you've had me here today.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck sitting next to Roxy.
Yep.
And so it begins.
Team Bobby, Marissa's back.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I'm very excited about the season. I love sitting across from you guys. See, what I say is just so much nicer than what he says. And I'm really, really excited to get into tonight's episode because there was a lot of nuggets in there, and I want to hear from you guys.
That was beautiful PR speak. I hope we can expect less of that and more real Roxy.
Yes.
I've cut back on the gin this season.
Oh.
Nevertheless, we are talking
sure
fresh hell tonight. And you can talk with us if you are watching. I believe we are live streaming, correct?
That we
so
are.
You can talk, you can comment on the live stream on YouTube. If you are listening to this after the fact, if it's not live, you can still comment on YouTube. We read every one of those. You can also comment on AFTERBUZZ iTunes on the podcast.
Yep.
Rate it, like us, do that stuff. And you can tweet us during or after the show. Okay, guys, let's get into fresh hell, which sounds...
I love
Refreshing.
going into
I love
fresh
it.
hell.
Let's dive into fresh hell.
If you're going to go to hell, make it fresh instead of rancid.
Yeah, and I think it's just a whole, just literally the name title is just a whole start for the new seasons. Like, there is a new hell coming upon the earth that's we
one
have
fresh
yet
hell.
to see.
Absolutely.
So I want to start with Vanessa, our main character, I guess. You can probably make a case for a couple of the main characters at different times, but I think Vanessa is the lead.
She's our protagonist.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's
for
our
sure.
girl. So let's start with her. We see everything opens up in season 2, walking through the snow, and then coming to her knees, collapsing, and we've got devil speak, we'll learn later. It sounds like Latin, but it's not, apparently. And we see Madame Kali. Now, Madame Kali was not necessarily an afterthought in season 1, but I was surprised to see her so early in season 2.
Absolutely. I agree with that. When we look back and you rewatch the episodes, you remember her from Seance and you remember everything she did. But I kind of always thought she was a secondary or a side character that wouldn't really push the plot forward. I had no idea what she was about to become, and I love that. I wasn't thinking about it.
Right, and also John Logan, he said even before Penny Dreadful even started in the first season, he went up to Helen McCrory, who plays Madame Kali, and he said, yes, for the first season, you're going to have just a few scenes, but you're going to play a bigger role in season 2. So this was already planned from John Logan years ago.
So you're telling me they know what they're doing?
Yes.
Is this, not to open up a too broad a question before we jump into specifics, but at least through the first episode of season 2, we don't see significant new characters. Everybody has kind of come back and been rehashed. Is that a good thing to not have new blood? Is new blood too gimmicky? Or would you have liked to see a main new character come out of, nowhere in season 2? We still could, but just in the first episode.
I mean, I think I was pretty happy all around with this episode. They gave us a lot of gems in this one, and I would not be surprised if we're going to get a lot of fresh blood.
Yeah, but
No pun intended.
But the thing is, we had one, and we'll get into the girls, but how season 1 ended, all of our main characters, all their stories were so open-ended.
Right.
So when coming back to season 2, you have to just continue those stories, and I feel if you're going to bring more people in, everyone who watched season 1 is going to be like, what happened? That's what we want to see first.
Absolutely. I needed to catch up with all of our characters that we love, that we know, that we hate, whatever it is, before we could move on. And I do feel like because Madame Kali was not a huge character, it was almost like getting a new character in this episode. And with the rest of her serpents, or whatever you want to call them, they were all brand new. One of them, I think, is going to play a huge role.
Yes.
Hecate.
Hecate,
Yes.
I noticed, I don't want to call anybody out on this panel, but I did notice all those nightcomers had very curly hair.
Very good.
I'm not naming names, but Marisa and Roxy, your hair is not curly. Moving right along.
Great, valid point. And for once, I'm not
We're
getting
the
thrown under any
newcomer.
buses.
Oh, hey-oh.
Interesting, we have a newcomer in our midst. Let's
I can help you through this hazing process.
Right?
We all gotta go through it.
let's talk about that now. Now we know that Madame Kali is a witch. For
Yes.
let's be blunt. And she is now going after Vanessa hard. So we have maybe a face. We knew Vanessa's been pursued by obviously these demons for a while, but we really have a face we can interact with now in a different way. When we had Fenton and things like that in season 1, people like that, sorry Fenton, those were, conduits and characters and stuff, but nothing was pure. There wasn't a good and evil. It was just kind of a creepy little sideshow that we were fighting. Even Mina wasn't really Mina. Mina was the demon and stuff like that. Now we have a face and we have a rivalry in a way between Vanessa and Kali. Vanessa doesn't know it yet. What do we have to brace with this Kali rivalry? How much of a threat is she? Because she's already killed a witch in cold blood, literally.
More than one. There was also one next to her bathtub.
That's true.
Yeah.
We don't know if that was a witch, though.
And
Yeah.
also
But
we don't know
killed
if she killed
something.
them, but I would
Yeah.
assume.
She kills
She's
people.
bathing in blood.
Oh, yeah.
The bloodbath. Yeah.
It's a bloodbath.
Yeah, but I think it's also that I think Madame Kali is going to play a humongous role, and especially the foil and female antagonist, because Vanessa's such a strong female protagonist. We need a female antagonist to really be equal and to really play against Vanessa, because, not to jump too far ahead, but even that end scene, they seem like they're on equal playing fields, that they're equally matched.
Right. It's interesting that you say we finally have a face, because yes, we do, but this still isn't even the biggest, baddest.
It's not, no.
No.
There's still somebody above Madame. So it's like,
Devil.
and that's the devil. My question more is, how did she get this role, whatever that is? She is the lead witch. She's the head of these women that call her mother. What does that make her?
Well, you're talking to 2 witch experts on this side of the table. we do Salem a show or 2. No, I think it's a coven. I think is what
It
we
is a
know
coven,
so
yeah.
far. It's effectively a coven, and she's the lead of this coven, and the one who is beholden to the devil. It would seem like.
But she's not who he chose to be his wife or his bride or whatever it is. That's Vanessa. So is there going to be any sort of jealousy? Is it
Probably.
or what exactly is her role going to be if she did get Vanessa to come along with her or whatever it is she's trying to do? Would that even be what she wanted?
Well, I think Madame Kali's, whole position is just to get Vanessa to get to the devils. Like that, I have my eyes on her. My only objective is to get her to you.
Right.
And so I don't think there's any jealousy whatsoever. I don't think there's that type of romantic relationship with Madame Kali and the devil. It's just her only goal is just like, I'm going to deliver Vanessa to you.
The one thing I really didn't like about that Madame Kali scene and everything she's in, this episode in particular, is the sexual undertones.
Oh, yeah. That was a little odd.
It
With
seemed
her
cheap.
daughters?
Yes. Yeah, it seemed cheap. The kiss, the near kiss with the other one. I was like, okay, you're maybe there's a deeper reason to it and we can explore that. But even for me, hey, straight guy, this is awesome. It just seemed like you're drawing in an audience that you don't need to draw in. The audience is so intelligent. The people who watch this are so damn intelligent. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be fooled by stuff
That's
like
us.
that.
Yeah, I think that one of the main reasons that they did this, and they could have accomplished it in a different way, was to distinguish of these curly-haired women, one of them. She was apart from the rest. She was the only one who got that kiss. She was the one who had to take the other woman away, whatever it is. They have a different relationship.
They are mother-daughter.
Yeah, that's the relationship. But I agree with you that I didn't know why we went there. I don't think it's because we're trying to draw in a certain audience, because I don't think the show is into that. So I think we're going to build on that. And we'll
I hope
get
so,
more.
because when I saw that, that's the first, I'm like, what's the reason?
Right,
For this?
there's got to be one.
Yeah, you don't need this audience. I don't think you even get this audience. You'd have to do a lot of this to get this audience.
Right.
It could be something that they're really only doing to kind of set the stage for the person that she is with these girls, and it's like they're going to do it now, and then it's really not going to be addressed again. I don't know. I think we're going to dive a lot deeper between all the
into the relationships and the characters.
devilishness between them. Yeah.
I hope. And it could also speak to, in a very broad way, more of a hedonistic portrayal of her, that she is, you know, stereotypical as it may be, she is, you know, the devil's employee, for lack of a better term. She's the devil's underling.
Yeah.
So this is hedonistic stuff. It's not, you know, there's anti-religion. There's no, you know, depth to this. And so part of that is the sexual undertone of pleasure and what feels good. And the sexual domination is just more of the hedonistic. You know, she does what she wants. She does what feels good. She does the bad thing versus Vanessa trying so hard to do the good. And that dichotomy in that final scene of Vanessa trying so hard to like pray and bleeding and the scorpion, she's, you know, drawn out in blood. And then Madame Kali in her final scene is praying.
So brilliant.
So well
The editing. Oh.
So well edited. And also just shows that we see Vanessa's side. She's so religious and she's praying fervently to her God. And then we also see Madame Kali just praying to the devil, the complete opposite, and the satanic blood cross on her forehead. So it's just the complete polar opposites of each other.
Yeah, I agree. I have another thing that I want to talk about with Vanessa and how I feel as if she's withholding information from us
100%.
right now.
I was just going to ask
Oh,
you.
yeah, definitely.
And when she says, I don't even know if I believe her that she doesn't know what she said or that she doesn't understand what they said. It takes her a little bit to come out and acknowledge that she does know these women and that they are witches. What does she know that we don't know? A lot of things, clearly, but what is it?
She obviously has crossed their paths before,
Yes.
and she has history with them. And we know even from season 1, like she knows how to do the tarot card reading, so she's very in tune with supernatural ability and all that, all those supernatural elements. So yes, she's definitely holding back, but what is it? We don't know. We'll eventually find out. But I think it's something that this scares her on a whole different level than what we saw in season 1. And even Ethan points that out. It's like,
Right.
I've never seen her frightened.
Which surprised me, actually, because the things that she went up against last season, I don't know, it surprised me.
No, I completely agree. She looked like a child in part of this episode as she holds herself and she sits there and runs into her dad's
his
arms.
circum.
Yeah, it was really strange to watch her like this. I don't know if she knows them from her nightmares, if she knows them from when this is actually when she turns into her demon version of herself. That's how she knows these people, and that's really who comes out of her and speaks, whatever it is. That must be the information she's withholding from us, how she has a relationship with them.
And she's not the only one who's withholding information. The witch that was killed by Kali, when she was like, but Vanessa knows the language. And Kali's like, what did she say? And the girl's like, it wasn't clear. I didn't hear it. You sure?
That's true.
It looked
You're right.
like you heard it.
That's a weird, not only is it a weird reason to kill somebody, but maybe Kali, they're trying to establish she's very powerful and kind of kooky. But it's also a weird decision to make that the reason for that witch's death, as opposed to saying something that Kali didn't like, or with, you know, withholding it all together. I can't say. She's like, oh, I didn't hear it all.
Right.
What? What do you mean?
No, but it was also
yeah.
like on top of the story that she was giving about the mementos and Maury about the death and whatnot. So like that was just a whole lead up to be like, I'm going to kill you.
No, I know that.
Despite
I'm just
whatever you
saying,
did.
The witch who gets killed is her last words were, you know, whatever she said was, you know, oh, I didn't hear it all. I couldn't get it all.
But also, yeah,
Really?
I even questioned that because when they questioned Vanessa, what did you say? Vanessa said, I don't remember. And then also hearing the witch saying it, I was like, maybe they legit don't remember what happened. It's just like two people talking to
Go
each other.
back to the scene itself when the buggy is flipped over and Vanessa and that witch go face to face and that witch says whatever. Vanessa responds and there's a visible reaction
with
in
you.
the face.
Yes.
And that thing backed off fast.
Okay, not only that, but who else has a really serious reaction would be Ethan in that moment.
Yeah.
And when he says that they were speaking in Latin, and then she says, no, that we actually weren't, and she corrects him, he very quickly knows exactly what she's talking about. And his face was appalled and frightened. And I think it got something inside him, too. And maybe on a surface level, he doesn't know and she doesn't know. But deep inside both of them, we've seen what is there. I think he knows more than he's letting on, too. Or maybe that he's capable of
Subconsciously,
expressing.
he knows more.
Well,
right.
he was about to, you know, drop the dime on Vanessa and cop to something or other when that whole buggy scene went down. When he was telling her why he had to leave and stuff. He was about to maybe say what we wanted him to say.
Right.
So, you know, he certainly is withholding in his own right, but when you withhold one thing, who knows how many things you're withholding when you're going to
So
lie about
many.
one thing.
That's true.
If you think about last season, we saw the same thing with Malcolm. He kept sending Vanessa out, and really he thought that they were after Vanessa, even though he didn't say that. So I at this point, I have a hard time trusting any of these characters because, number one, I don't know what they are willingly withholding, and number two, I don't know what subconscious level they are hiding things even from themselves or that are being hidden within them. So
Yeah.
you really can't trust anybody.
I only trust Brona.
Oh, we don't know if we can
No,
trust
not
her.
anymore. I don't know.
Well, no, you have to be. She's a clean slate
Yeah,
now.
that's
You
true.
totally trust her
I
now.
trust Brona.
I don't know if that's true. You
I
can
really
trust her as much
don't
as you
know.
can trust Caliban.
No, but Caliban is no longer a clean slate. You can trust her as much
Yeah.
as you trusted Petrus when he was. That was his name, right? Petrus?
No.
What was his
Proteus.
name?
Proteus.
Yes. Thank you. Petrus was Salem.
Yeah, we did too many shows.
You can trust her like you trusted Proteus when Victor was teaching him how to read and stuff.
Yes.
Because it was like an infant. So at this point, Brona standing there is an infant.
No,
It's
but
the
think
most
about-
trustworthy.
Think about Caliban when all he does, the first thing is screaming bloody murder. That's the first thing he does.
Because he's in pain, not
in pain.
to kill anybody.
Yeah, I'm not saying to kill anybody, but can you trust that? How do you know? How do we know he can or can't?
But also, I think it's just Victor really improving on his work because the first two bodies that he revived had so completely different reactions, and then Bruno's the most calm one out of all
Third
of them.
time's the charm.
Third time's the charm.
Is she? We didn't even
Well,
get
she
to
was-
see enough of that scene to know if she is calm. The next words that come out of her mouth could be, "I'm going to kill both of you."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think maybe like just the third time Victor has really perfected his craft and whatnot, and I think Brona would probably be just more advanced than the other two.
So it's 3.0.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's improvement.
Yes.
That's the whole project.
It's Monster 3.0. You can download the app on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, that only happened in a day. For 1 or 2 days, however long that, because, this season literally just picked off where they left off, and Brona just died, and now she just came back.
Right.
So this is already advanced more than everybody else.
I was asking about that though. So timeline-wise, last thing we heard Vanessa talking about was the boys coming to help them for Christmas. Obviously, it's snowing now. What month are we in?
Around Christmas.
Right,
I mean,
it's probably
Prior?
after.
I think after.
Probably after.
it doesn't snow a lot in London, let's be honest. But it certainly is, January, I would guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we know it's year 1891.
Yeah.
Okay, we know the year, but the month.
Yeah.
Little uncertain.
Winter season
Winter's
at least.
bone. Yes. No, I don't. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Which, by the way, whichever one of you, I think it was Marissa, I don't want to give Roxy credit for this.
I get that.
In the middle of last season, one of you, maybe Sarah, predicted that Brona was going to become Caliban's love.
No, actually,
Early.
that was Tiana.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, then I'm going to have to give her...
Hashtag Team Tiana Roxy.
Why do you have to make this about you?
1 point, because it's a team thing.
But you know what? Hashtag Team Bobby and Marissa, because we're both here tonight.
Okay, well,
Boom.
why do you have to make this about
She
me?
can have many teams.
Allison, we're sorry you had to witness
I
that.
know, right?
I have learned from the show you can play for many teams.
Yeah.
That's a great, that's an amazing Ethan reference.
It's good.
Oh, yeah.
Or Dorian,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
However you want to do it.
Yeah, and apparently Kali, too, so
It's getting hot in here.
Yep.
That was a
Goodness.
hell of a transition to the
love you,
man
Roxy.
himself.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
And this Mariners Inn massacre. Okay, so we meet Inspector Rusk.
I love that name.
As
Another
much
new
TV,
character.
Yeah, that is, but obviously a little more minor, at least right now.
We think.
As
Right.
much TV as we all watch, I love this show because everything about it is a cut above, and it should be. It's Showtime. It's very well produced. This is what you expect, but it's a cut above. The music, the set design, the camera shots that I'm sure
Fantastic.
are digital and not real, but the
my
camera
God.
shots over the city and stuff are amazing. It's such a
No,
cool
they
thing to
built
look
that
at.
city.
Yeah, the set and everything,
Yeah.
the acting. I bring all this up because Inspector Rusk, at least right now, what we've seen of him, is the worst stereotypical kind of London detective. It's exactly what you would think.
But I think that's their point because everyone and even the audience is smarter than these two. They're the comedic characters. That's it.
You think Rusk is? I think he knows something because he very quickly walks in there, evaluates the situation, and says, "This is different. This is not Jack the Ripper. we had somebody leave this scene. Now, my question would be...
Who, first off?
Okay, I would think it would be Ethan, and here's why. Because I think that there are two sets of prints. One would be werewolf, and one would be
Human.
Ethan. Yeah, human.
Yeah.
So he's thinking there was a survivor. I'm thinking he just is not clear on what's going on. However, that could be not true. If it was somebody else that wasn't Ethan that left, did Ethan spare them? Did they see what happened? There are so many questions that would open up.
It also looked like Rusk grabbed something from underneath the chair. Like, there was something he
saw.
I didn't see what it was. Yeah.
And the whole thing about the wood, he was smarter than the other ones. At least he evaluated somewhat correctly.
Yeah, and I think that's just like the regular human civilians that you have to throw into the madness because it is London. There are going to be those people. But I think it just shows that even Galsworthy, for as little time as we saw him on screen tonight, I don't see his character being strong or as threatening to oppose these people or like, I'm going to take these people down, because he himself doesn't even know what he's up against.
Yeah.
So I just don't see his character strong enough yet. I mean, granted, we had a little screen time with him. I don't see him strong enough to be someone to worry about.
Last season, when we saw Ethan unleash the inner wolf, he did it very much so on purpose. Yes, he looks up at the moon, but there were two men after him. Mm-hmm. They wanted to bring him back to America. He methodically puts the knuckles break and does all of that, and he kills them. Tonight, when we see him, he wakes up, and it looks like he's ashamed, confused, doesn't know what he's done, and killed a bunch of seemingly innocent people. Does he have control over this at some times and other times he doesn't? What is this now he's blacking out when we know that at some point he could choose to turn? I'm not sure.
Do you remember in that buggy with Vanessa, and I don't remember the exact words verbatim, but it was something along the lines of they were talking before it flipped and all that happened. And she said something, he was talking about how he had to get out of here, and, we lost the war, and she said, oh, but it's but a battle, and he says something, and she goes, you mean the demons inside me?
Right.
And he's like,
right.
I didn't say that. I took that to mean the demons inside multiple people, him included.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I did too.
So that's, I think, to answer your question, that he wrestles with this the same way that Vanessa has to wrestle with her situation, but in a different realm for him, is he knows what it is, he kind of controls it maybe, or he kind of can battle with it, but there are times where it gets so out of control, he recognizes, I'm a public health risk,
Yeah.
and I have to leave. This is why I have to go to Russia or wherever else it is.
And I think it's also because we saw it in the end of season 1 when before he took out those men, he was drinking, he was drunk, and I think that he was already in a weak, vulnerable state. He wasn't thinking rationally and clearly, and that might have led up to the point where he did, in a way, black out and turn into the creature. Just like Vanessa does when she gets possessed and whatnot, she goes through a sexual activity. So, I think they had their own ways to enter the inner demons that they have.
How is he going to play into the witches, because they are out to get him right now? They think that he is protecting her, and they very quickly acknowledge him as a wolf.
Well, yeah, the Lupus Dei was just Wolf of God.
Right.
And they know that he is protecting Vanessa. So, even Madame Kali is saying that I'm going to have her daughter, Hecate, go after Ethan, take him out, just so Madame Kali can go after Vanessa.
But here I'm sitting thinking from last season that he doesn't have God in him, that he has the devil in him, and that maybe he would be on their team, but very clearly they don't want him. They want him gone, and they do call him Wolf of God. So is he good?
I think he's good.
I think he's good.
Okay, so then what was
even
that
when
last season as he pins Vanessa against the wall and the devil comes out of him?
I don't think that was the devil.
Well, he says, I'm the devil. That those were it was the whole Amun-Ra, that whole scene, and she's sitting there and they're talking and the devil comes out of him.
But maybe, okay, so for that, yes, maybe. But I think Ethan himself as a person was already religious from the start.
But that wasn't Ethan. His eyes changed.
No, not for that particular scene, but Ethan just as a character, he started off as a religious person because we know he has a lot of internal conflicts with religion as well.
Yeah, we do. I don't know. I think that this was a weird play, and there's got to be a bigger thing here because he isn't purely good. And whatever he did back in America or whatever he continues to do, how can he be the wolf of God? Has he been, for lack of better words, fired as that position? Has he been brought down to earth because of that?
Or maybe he was appointed by God, but he obviously went against that.
Because look at the people we know that he's killed now. He killed 2 Pinkerton guys, right? Mm-hmm. All those guys are doing. Those guys were not evil. All they're doing is trying to bring him home on other things that they think human Ethan did.
Right.
You know, a murderer, whatever the case may be. They're not evil for doing that. He may have a reason to want to get rid of them to stay free, but it's not like he's vanquishing evil in the name of God. So I don't think, I would argue he's not good at all. And he may be pulling a ruse on Vanessa too, but he doesn't have any motivation to harm her. He may be pulling the ruse for some other thing. Or he's caught in too deep now.
We also don't see him actually hurt anybody in this episode. We see him wake up and he has blood on his face. Yep. We are under the assumption that he has killed all of these people, but say that my prediction before was incorrect and say there was somebody else there. They didn't watch him do it. They actually did it themselves. And he was left. His life was spared.
Do you remember the end of the first season, that last scene where the camera... Yeah, not only does he transform, the camera pans out of the window and you can see fighting immediately.
Right.
I think it would be really, really cheap if we found out that, oh, there was another guy. He popped into the room.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to assume, and it's probably best to assume, Ethan's behind
that
it.
he is behind this.
Yeah.
I would agree, but then how does that how does he control this?
Maybe
He
can't.
can.
Yeah.
I guess
Or
not.
he can't yet.
And who are these people in there that he has killed? And to argue that he would be evil or not good would be going against the fact that we now know he is, or the witches believe him to be, the wolf of God.
But remember, you this isn't, football. You can have 3 teams.
That's true.
There's no rule saying we can't have 50 teams. And to preserve the length of the show, I think it helps to have multiple teams. Look at Salem. Yeah. It helps to have a lot of different people fighting each other for different reasons, rather than just, this dichotomy of good versus evil. And then Ethan and Sir Malcolm in his own way, definitely other people sit in this gray area where some days you're like, hey, this is a good dude, and some days you're like, really, bro?
Absolutely, but nobody's looking at Malcolm and calling him the wolf of God.
No, but Malcolm in his own right. I'm just saying every
Right.
one of these is on a scale, and I think the scale slides every day.
Yeah, it's not black and white. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Anything else on Ethan? I want to talk about Caliban because he makes me so happy.
Caliban. I felt for him tonight.
He makes me happy.
Yeah.
He looked just lost and confused at that one point.
But I have to give it to him. Like, he's trying to start a whole new life for him.
He is.
It's like, all right.
And I agree
valiant
that I
effort.
felt bad, but at the same time, the way that he's going about it and his methods, he's going to get somebody in trouble.
I have a question. And this is one of those questions Roxy asked where she's like, I'm sorry if this is done. So this is my version of you asking. I hope it's not done. I know that Caliban killed Proteus, like by physically like ripping through him.
Right.
But Caliban, the way he's presently structured, can he die of like natural causes? Does he have a finite life?
I think that he can't die of natural causes. I think that when he talks about it before and he says, you humans, he was kind of making fun of Victor, you humans who drop off from consumption or whatever it is, as if he was above. So I'd assume no.
He's just going to stay at that age. Like, he's done. It's like he's just going to live in that.
He's never going to age.
I believe so. That's what I believe.
But they
because
can
he's
certainly
mechanics
be.
now.
But they can certainly be killed, as we saw with Proteus.
Oh, well,
we
ripped
know.
apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I think
Dismembered.
that's the reason for Caliban. He is literally a walking paradox, because he always preaches about death and whatnot, and he preaches he's going to live forever.
Right. Which we know could not be true.
Yeah, but I think like all the other we did see Proteus Day, but I think Caliban could be stopped. Someone could kill him if they really wanted to.
Why would you want to stop him? The dude
I'm not
just
saying,
wants,
like,
the dude
they're
just wants to
going
be
to.
gainfully employed and fall in love.
Yeah. I'm not saying they want to, but he's a walking paradox.
Yes, he does. That's true, but he wants to fall in love with somebody who also will be around forever. He wasn't willing to fall in love with somebody, or didn't think they would fall in love with him back, which is why this new female character is so fascinating to
Lavinia.
us. Yeah.
Lavinia, which, interesting enough, and also and we'll get into the names John Clare, but Lavinia is a Victorian name, but also because Proteus and Caliban, we know they're from Shakespeare plays. Lavinia is from Titus Andromeda.
Cool.
There is a character named Lavinia in Titus Andromeda.
Interesting.
So another Shakespeare name,
I like it.
which is
Yeah, Lavinia would have been perfect for him because she's blind.
I think she
Totally.
still might be perfect for him.
So you're
Still
saying
might
that
be.
Caliban is going to cheat on his undead bride?
It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's going to cheat on her. I'm
have a
saying that I
prediction
think
there.
that him and Brona might not necessarily make the best match because either A, Brona and Victor are going to have something.
I'm with you.
Or B, Brona and Ethan, or Ethan's not going to let Brona go that easy. So one of those things might happen. I don't think that.
Or Dorian.
Right, she already did have with Dorian. I don't think that this is going to go the way that we want it to, or the way that we would assume it would. And this girl who really sees him for who he is by touching his face, ironically, I feel like she can see him the best.
He was only led to the idea of Brona because the woman at the theater rejected him. So
Right.
really, it's not that he didn't want an actual human relationship. It's that he thought that wouldn't be possible.
well,
And he
even-
said to
even
Victor,
further.
find me a girl. This was a
Yeah.
convenient girl who was dying.
Yeah. Even before the lady at the theater, from the first episode we saw Caliban, it's like, you're going to make me a mate that's equal to me.
If we look at the actual scene that they met, though, it was a little bit of a meet cute. She is with Ethan, yes, but she's got the whatever nuts or something. Or was that with Proteus, or was it with Caliban that she met him?
Yeah, that was Proteus.
Oh, it was with Proteus. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So
With the nuts.
she was just destined to be with somebody one day then. Somebody who wasn't living.
But okay, sorry to
for it.
I think with the whole name John Clare, Caliban wants his whole new identity John Clare, which is another interesting thing.
Yeah, he's been reading up to.
John Clare actually is an English poet
Right.
who lived back in 1864, and he was most known for writing poetry about alienation and unstable self. So, and like he declares a lot of laments and whatnot. So he's very depression.
I would put it
writing.
past him to have some kind of an arc. So, like, even if he thought that he wanted to have someone of his likeness, so someone like Brona, he could change. He's a well-read creature.
He is. He makes this decision about his name very quickly.
Yep.
But he, as well read as he is, there are so many names he could have picked. So,
True.
Marissa, I think that's really interesting what you just said, because this is somebody he probably idolizes or relates to in a certain way.
He's very well educated. We know he reads books and
Yep.
literature.
Right.
And so to pick an author who's pretty much like him, who just preaches about and laments about and having a sad solitude life, yeah, is the perfect name to reflect who he is and his character.
Why does he want to maintain a relationship with his master, or whatever or his creator, as he calls him? He says, "We are bound on a wheel of pain, thee and me. I ask you, what is Dr. Frankenstein without his creature?"
I asked the same question in a different way to Marissa. When I saw Victor going through all these machinations to create Brona and to do this whole thing in his lab, and I turned to Marissa and I was like, if he's going to go through this much trouble, why doesn't Victor just kill Caliban?
Right.
Like, and I don't understand that. I'm 100% with you.
It's very interesting. And the other thing that I have to keep reminding myself is the fact that Victor is also in so much pain.
Yeah.
Yes, Caliban's in pain, but Victor is an absolute drug addict.
Yep.
And he's shooting up his morphine, his heroin, and he was shooting coke into Malcolm last season, whatever it is. What's going on with him? He's kind of a wild card because he is doing all of these things, but he's unwilling to kill him.
But also, we did see in season 1, Victor is in some way really afraid of Caliban, because we saw Caliban, he took out Van Helsing, he took out Proteus. It's like Caliban has literally murdered 2 people that he grew fond of and really cared for in his personal life right in front of him. So in a way, I think Victor's just scared of him.
We do see him learn to start using guns. He does. He takes it
Yeah.
up and he wants to become a sharpshooter. And last season we even see him when everything goes down at the theater, shoot somebody and kill them. Well, if you want to call it somebody or something, what?
And not only that, but Victor is he's so smart, even in his drug addiction state, with the whole get-up of the lab, and he has so many intricate pieces moving here that, what scientist was doing this kind of stuff back then? Resurrecting bodies aside,
Right.
everything else he's doing is just really, really intense. I'm not asking Victor to go like toe-to-toe with Caliban and saying, let's wrestle to the death, because Victor will lose.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be like an ingenious plan he would have to hatch to be like, let me get Caliban from behind. Let me kill him with some contraption.
The way he did.
Yeah.
I agree, but clearly something is stopping him. What is it? Just that this is his creation?
And just fear?
Yeah, I think it's both.
For a split second, when Brona was being brought to life and like Caliban went flying because he like got a little bit of the electrocution through him or
Right.
something, for a minute, or maybe not a minute, but for a slight second, I was like, oh, are they taking him out this quickly? So then I realized they weren't. But anyway,
He dies by creation.
Yeah,
of his
right.
life.
Is there almost a biblical thing to this too, about Victor being the creator for Caliban, and the creator, God does
for
not
sure.
go back on his creation.
There's so much symbolism
How
there.
can Victor go back on his? I created this, I let this live. As good or bad as it is, I cannot then flush
away
it
the-
out.
Yeah, there's so many religious motifs in the show, and we even saw in season 1 between these two. Caliban said, "Look upon your creation, look upon what you did," and the image, God creating man out of his image. It's the exact same thing with those two.
Yes, however, he left him. He did do that. He did turn his back already.
You could argue that God left Adam and Eve, said, "Hey, you're on your own. You're out of the garden."
That is true. What I wonder more, and the way that I said I don't believe anything that these characters say, is when Victor looks at him and says, "I could never love you." I'm not sure that's true. I think that he might love him, and he is afraid of him, but because it is his creation. Even
does.
in the way that Malcolm said that he didn't love Vanessa and he would throw her under the bus, but he never did. I think that he loves him. It's in a weird, twisted kind of way.
It's like
Victor loves Caliban.
I think he does.
An unconditional love from
Right, I
a
don't know,
parent
yeah.
to a child.
I'm not sure, because maybe one day we'll see Victor take him out, but I don't think it's happening.
I think it's unconditional love.
Right. And maybe they actually develop a friendship after this. Maybe not, but maybe season 2, season 3, season 4, the further we go along, they can develop some sort of relationship.
Yeah, because I feel like, I agree, because I feel like tonight's episode, this was the most civil those two were ever together, ever been to each other
Absolutely.
together.
And they're on the same page as they're both screaming now, looking at each other, trying to, they had a common goal. I mean,
that
that's
scene
a
was
start.
crazy.
It was incredible.
That was intense.
That was awesome.
I can't believe what an incredible job these actors did, because
Yes.
this is pull that lever and pretend you know what you're doing.
That's what I was telling Bobby. I was like, how the heck does Caliban know all these gauges go down to 10%? And I was like, yeah, it's great.
It was
But,
incredible.
you have to... You just have to let it all go out. And
I turned to
know that
Roxy
this
and I
is
said, I
awesome.
think that they must be theater actors or something, or they have a background in it, because they're just very good with,
Things.
yeah.
Sure.
They do that whole acting thing pretty well.
Yeah,
you know?
they're very good.
That's why they're on a show.
Great analysis, Roxy.
That's how I see it. That whole thing they call acting, they nailed it.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to step on anybody's toes with predictions, but I do want to ask the question, because when we get to predictions, we always rush it because we don't have a lot of time. Is Victor falling in love with Brona?
Yes. Do you like that I just,
Okay.
yes, I think so.
Answer
Here's the
without
thing.
thinking.
But why?
Absolutely.
No,
Why do
I
you think so?
can't-
Just the way that he was talking to her and touching her
In the pool.
in
bath
whatever that was,
thing.
and just kind of the way that he was being so voyeuristic with her, not touching, then touching, and how he was talking, all of it. It just it struck me as he was forming a relationship with her that I don't know if he expected it, but one is there.
His first two creations were unattractive men.
Okay.
But we don't know. Roxy brought up a valid point when we were
Right.
watching.
So there you
a,
go,
There's a
'cause
couple
I have
different
something to
things.
say.
Here's something we know about him. We know he's a virgin.
Yes.
Here's something. So
Which is fine.
that's a fact. But what was implied to me tonight was as he was touching her, it didn't seem like it was the first time he was touching somebody. So that either means he has touched her previously, which there wouldn't have been that much time, or he has touched somebody previously. Yes, there have been 3 successful creations. How many previous creations that failed? I don't know. So either A, he has touched other dead women before, or B, had he touched his male creations before? That's where my mind went.
Oh, see, I can understand that. I see it as, we know, like you said, Victor is a virgin. They mentioned it a lot in season 1. This is the closest he's ever been romantically, physically, with a person of the opposite sex that we're led to believe. So I saw it as more as this is his only chance he can be intimate with someone. Whether it was Brona, whether it was another person, but we see it with Brona. And we know he loves science. Science is his number 1 love. And the fact that he can literally merge the two together and have them coincide, I think I saw it as just him loving his work, loving his science, and then also getting the chance to being romantic in a way and being intimate with his own creation.
I absolutely think that, yeah.
I didn't see it as a love romantic relationship. I just saw it as something he's loving his creation.
I think that he will fall for her. I do. I see that happening. I don't know if he's there yet, but the way he talked, besides the touching part, the way he spoke to her, that he was going to miss her and whatnot, I think she is different for him in some ways. And I don't know how that will affect his relationship with Caliban, because if they both want her, then there's going to be a big problem. We have a lot of big problems right now, but there will be a bigger problem. But maybe Caliban won't want her.
Maybe Caliban's going to want Lavinia.
Do we even call him Caliban anymore?
Oh, for sure. That's a great name.
John Clare. But I
doesn't
just
look much
hope,
like a John Clare.
No, but I just hope Victor doesn't become a necrophiliac.
That's the one. But you know what? If he had, or if he did, that would almost... It's not perfect, don't misquote me, but it would be perfect for him because he's so awkward. He's so, he hasn't been touched as far as we know. And
He's socially inept.
It's so taboo that for him it might be the only way. And there might be, not beauty in that, but there might be kind of a symmetry there.
I get what you're saying, but then couldn't we claim that the only way would for him to be with the undead? So while maybe it's still a little weird, Brona being at least a breathing thing would be better for him to be sleeping with than Brona being a smothered thing.
You're not going to disagree with me that it'd be better he didn't sleep with dead people. I'm with you on that. I'm just saying that it might actually, I could definitely see a scene in the future.
But she's about to be awkward. She's about to be strange as well. So.
Not necessarily with her, I mean with some.
Well,
with
we
somebody.
don't know.
I would assume, because I think that both of his previous creations that have come to life, yes, this is 3.0, so it might be different, but in their own respects are a little awkward. I mean, one of them...
like readjusting to life
right,
after
of
being
course.
dead.
I don't blame them for being awkward.
Yeah.
But they are a little bit. Somebody that'd be interesting to grab a drink with, awkward.
Is that really where your mind goes?
It really is.
She needs her gin, Bobby.
What do you think? What do you think undead Brona drinks?
Oh.
Well, what were they drinking in the second
she was
episode?
drinking a lot.
Like
Was she
whiskey.
drinking
Whiskey
Yeah,
with
she's
Ethan.
just a whiskey kind of girl.
She
Well,
might
maybe she's
still
not
be a
anymore.
whiskey
She
girl.
could now be a gin girl, and life is turned upside down.
For you,
She could
this
be your
is
best friend.
Gin does things to people in a different way than
Oh, we
whiskey.
know.
Let's get this straight. I am a whiskey girl. We just make the joke about gin here. I need to clarify. It's very important.
Fair enough.
Okay, let's go back to real life, back to the undead life. Putneys. Let's talk about this wax
Yes.
museum.
Yes, let's do that. I'm excited. No, I'm excited. Let's do that.
Well, Marisa, did you have something to say?
I do. I like this family because if you think about it, the whole Frankenstein story, he fell in love by observing this family from afar. He learned how to be educated. He learned how to communicate with the world and whatnot. And he learned language from observing a family in the story. And then I see it, and that family in the story was like very nice, very sociable people, very kind and gentle in that way. And I see the Putneys as maybe that equivalent family that Caliban could observe and grow to have a family dynamic relationship.
In the story, how did that family relationship end?
It ended badly. Yes, we'll get into predictions. But I see it, they could be that equivalent if we're somewhat going against towards the canon of these stories, I see them as that family equivalent that Caliban needs.
That would I agree to some extent, but it would be an oversight if we didn't talk about what his actual intentions are. First of all, the way he yells at his wife was very clear that something is not right here. And second of all, what he says that face will make our fortune.
Dum dum dum.
Right, something's up. I don't think this is a good guy. I don't think this is a good guy at all.
I took him to be the same as the theater man. What was his name?
Yes.
No, I
From
think
the
that
Granule.
man was great.
I took Mr. Putney to be similar, and I think Caliban. This is going to sound weird, and I don't know if I have a basis for it, but I think Caliban wants to be seen. More so than he wants to be hidden, because he's finding out that people very slowly don't find him as gross as he thinks he is. You know how we all do things and we think it's a huge deal, and then you ask somebody about it and they're like, I didn't even notice.
What?
Yeah.
Because we're all in our own crap.
What did I turn to you and say about him? I think he's kind of cute.
Let's, Roxy,
We know Roxy's type.
keep it in your pants.
I confirm.
Keep it in your romper.
I know. Maybe it's because I actually know what the actor looks like, but I don't think he is that hideous. I think he's really unique looking. I think his eyes are gorgeous, and there's something about him, and there's something about the quality of his voice, just everything. So I do know what you mean. However, I don't know if the show would prove that to be true, because the last woman that he tried to be with, she had the relationship with her brother, but at the end of the day, she did get him fired.
I'm not saying it's going to work out with every person. I just mean that I think he's starting to realize that fewer people than he thought. I think he thought he was going to be a pariah. And now, when he walked into Putney's and Mr. Putney was like, oh, hey, what's up? You want the job? He kind of gave a look like, you're not going to kick me out.
Right.
I'm a freak, And more people are going to do that, and I think slowly his confidence builds. We know he's very confident because he has a motivation around Victor, but that's a window into some of what he can be around other people, maybe without the anger. But I think that confidence builds, and whatever the performance is, the coming out party, who knows what he's going to be doing at this wax museum, but I don't know if it's as bad as you assume it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think the moment that he had when Lavinia was getting to know him, I think that sort of made him take a pause, in the sense of it was the first time someone stepped away from him and smiled and said, how nice to meet you, and so I think it's like little things like that are going to begin to break him down in a bit and make him feel like, wait a minute, maybe I'm not so bad in this world,
And again, I think that's why I think this family is good for him, despite maybe they do have ulterior motives, Roxy. I don't know. But I think this family could be really helpful in Caliban's life to get him to be more extroverted, to get him out into the environment.
But when we say that face will make our fortune, what's the plan?
I think it's like when Caliban walked into the place, Mr. Putney immediately said, we don't get business here, we hardly make any money, and I literally saw it, and maybe I took it at face value that his Caliban will help bring the business back.
Why that face?
I don't think we know yet. But
there's something. There's got to be more.
There is more. There's nobody's disagreeing with that. I just don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
It was also the way he treated his wife, though. And I know that this is a long time ago, but he snapped at her. He claims to Caliban, she's the keeper of all this, she has to clear you. She absolutely had zero say.
In his defense, though, his wife was snapping at him in the first place. She snapped at him and said, what are you thinking? And then he defended himself. I got a great feeling off Mr. Putney as him and Caliban implicitly beginning a relationship. They hit it off immediately. We get a very good feeling from Mr. Putney early on. Nothing sketchy. The only halfway sketchy line is the fortune line, but I think depending on how you take it, doesn't have to be that sketchy. I think the wife, Olivia, is actually the one to watch for. If we're going to watch for Putney, I don't trust Olivia.
All right. Our bets are placed. We'll see what happens.
Fine. I'm a Mr. Putney guy.
I think Caliban will make that business thrive again, because right now they're struggling.
And Mr. Putney hates the French.
Quiet woman.
And don't we all hate the French?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Yeah, it's just like Caliban could be literally the new face for the business.
He's just pissed about Madame Tussauds.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he is.
He's just
Putney
pissed.
hates the French.
Yeah.
And,
Goodness.
Okay, anything else on...
About that.
Go
like,
for it.
Just really, really quickly about that place. I loved how they had that whole quick shot of Jack the Ripper, and notice we still didn't see the face.
Yep.
And the whole Annie Chapman.
I just wrote that.
Yeah.
I'll save it for predictions.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Didn't see the face.
Last
Was
thing...
it cool, Bobby? Because it didn't sound like you really thought that what I said was cool. Okay, cool.
Moving on. Last thing we're going to talk about, just Allison and Marissa and I, is Gladys and Sir Malcolm. Sir Malcolm had his ass handed to him in that scene in the cemetery by his wife.
It was much needed, though.
Oh, totally. I'm not saying it wasn't needed, but Sir Malcolm,
he had it coming.
Sir Malcolm, step on in, have a seat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When she says, we have no more children for you to save or to kill. Daggers. But my question about it is, how does she know? She obviously wasn't there when he killed their daughter, so he must have told her. Why did he tell her that? Why did he not say, I found her dead, she was murdered?
I don't know if she
Maybe
was
it was
looking...
not about the daughter. Maybe it was about Peter. We know that that Malcolm really played a big part in Peter's death, that he really didn't do anything.
Absolutely, but I think she implied that she knew that he had killed both of them.
Again, Roxy, we disagree. I interpreted this as more esoterically from her saying, we had 2 kids, you, excuse my language, you started fucking shit up, they both died. I don't know what happened, but you're involved here, you can't do it anymore.
So you don't think she knows?
I certainly don't think she's
Not all
in
the
on the
details.
specifics, but she's like, dude, when you get involved with these kids, people end up dead, stop.
Yeah, that absolutely could be it. I just felt like she was angry with him. She knew something. She knew a lot. And I don't really know how she knew it, why she knows it, or what place she's going to have in this. Why in our season 2, episode 1 episode did we have 10 minutes of her? Maybe less, but...
I think because we needed to establish that Malcolm wants out. Malcolm wants to get out of London, and he was like, hey, I can just come back here. She shot that down. Doesn't mean he's not going to find another way out of London.
Did he just want out of London after what happened to Mina, but now, like, once he's gotten back and he sees everything that's going on with Miss Ives, and suddenly he's like, oh no, I guess I still have some stuff to do in London. I think maybe it's more of that now. He needs a reason to be in London.
I think he's still got a foot in and a foot out.
Yeah, okay. I can be on your...
And if you're not 100% in something like this, you're out. If you're 80% in, you're out.
I agree. It's just another reason why Malcolm has to stay in London.
Their relationship, he says, we once were very much so in love. We know that he was cheating on her for a long time.
Infidelity.
Does that mean she doesn't know, or does she know? I don't remember if she ended up finding out.
She knows.
She knows.
That she ended up finding out.
So it's not only just Malcolm doing nothing about his kids dying, is also there was infidelity and being scorned in that way as a woman.
Besides, Roxy, don't women always know?
That's true. Which is why I know everything.
You scared me for a second.
I'm like,
Wait,
Roxy, let's
where'd you go
about
with
to say
that?
about you on air?
let's sell the London place. We don't need it.
Very funny.
We'll see about Gladys. I don't know that she'll ever play a major role.
I don't think
ever.
so.
I think that was her only role.
Yeah.
It might be. But I think it just establishes more Sir Malcolm. He's trying to get out of London. He's not 100%
So that was
in.
about him.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also shows that Malcolm doesn't have his real family, so his only family and confidants are everyone back in London.
Yeah.
We got 2 people that were trying to leave London right in the beginning of the episode and fail on both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nobody's going anywhere.
No, they're not. No.
Nobody,
They're
somebody
sticking around.
must not have told them there's a whole second season.
I was
You
just
can't
about to say
leave
this is a
that.
TV show.
And
so
likely a
anything you're
third,
like,
so they're going to be there for a while.
better be
yeah.
there.
Leave.
Marissa, who are you going to murder if there is not?
Lots of people. There's going to be a massacre on my end.
Now, I have an
Marissa
idea, guys. Why don't we do a little news and gossip?
We didn't talk about the scorpion thing, did we?
We touched a little bit about it.
And the prayer.
The Infinity Scorpion.
All right.
The
Okay.
Infinity.
I still think it's a lobster.
The
but I
Infinity
think you're
Lobster.
right.
It didn't. I know
Scorpion lobster?
It's scorpion because the scorpion's on her neck. All that. The sign of the scorpion, and I know Marissa's got her research on scorpions.
Okay, so it's a scorpion. Okay,
But
I accept.
That was a weird. Just watching the blood spread on the thing over and over, I couldn't. That was like you with spiders. Was me with that blood smear.
There was a lot of blood
It
there.
was too.
Oh, I had to watch it so many times. I
Yeah, but the thing with scorpions, scorpions are really known for animalistic defense. That's their whole symbolism, is always being on the defense.
So is it going to be her like protection? The scorpion is going to protect her or something?
I think it's just literally a representation of who her character is. She's always on the defense because people or spirits are always after her. She's on the She's on the constant defense. So it's literally just a physical manifestation of what she is.
Interesting.
And also, just scorpions is known for life and death and rebirth. Death and rebirth.
I like it.
So,
the knowledge.
Symbolism.
Thank
Professor
you.
Serafini.
I know, yeah.
That's what I'm calling it.
Now,
Yes.
let's do news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Perfectly timed. I got two things for you guys. First one's fun. Penny Dreadful has a clothing line at Hot Topic.
What?
Yes, they do.
That's so hilarious. Hi, Larry.
Very fitting for.
I love it.
But wait a second.
I love Hot Topic. Just throwing that out there.
I feel like you would. Hot Topic has clothing lines from Orphan Black on BBC America and Marvel's Avengers. They're now doing Penny Dreadful. There's a video on YouTube. Marissa, you can probably look it up right now. It's actually really cool. The Penny Dreadful fashion collection. I'm not like a fashion expert. It's for women. I don't know if there's any men's stuff. It looks pretty damn
Is there
cool.
a scorpion necklace?
Yes, there's tons of scorpion stuff. There's a ton of scorpion stuff, and there's 19th century London inspired.
Oh, that's cool.
Stuff. So
Very cool.
When I first read it, I was like, okay, this is cheesy. But after I saw that video, it's like, oh, this is some dark stuff. It's kind of gothic.
I like it.
It's kind of smart that they're integrating that demographic into the mix. I like it.
And the other one, we got a couple minutes left. We'll hurry through this. Josh Hartnett on Penny Dreadful. He says, quote, "The show may hurt you a little bit in the second season." He was talking to a newspaper in Canada, the St. Catharines Standard. A reporter named Bill Harris. Harris asked Hartnett about how long Ethan can run from this shady past. Hartnett responded, "I would love to see a happy Ethan, but the way John Logan, the creator, has set up these characters, they're all very conflicted people with dark histories and probably dark trajectories." Harris then said, I hope Ethan survives. I like him. We're all kind of there. And Hartnett said, "Good, I'm glad you think that of him, but we'll see. It may hurt. The show may hurt you a little bit."
Oh, no.
Is this Josh Hartnett being is this Josh Hartnett being just a wonderful interviewee because he's acted a long time, or is this Josh Hartnett saying Ethan might die in season 2?
I think it's him saying you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, you guys are not fun.
Swerve. I don't know.
I think that was just a tease.
I'm very fun. Never say that again.
I always stalk IMDb to see how many episodes they're in, so
I know.
I
I get that.
The
maybe.
internet's ruining everything.
yeah, I know.
But also, just one more quick thing.
Go for
John Logan, he had an interview with Entertainment Weekly, and tonight's episode, the premiere, really introduced witchcraft and witches into this story. And he said this was a story that he always had in mind, especially with Madame Kali, knowing she was going to be a bigger role in this season. And we know that Vanessa is very supernatural and very aware of that, and that path and that trajectory led to the exploration of the occult and the witchcraft, which really reflects the Victorian England era.
Interesting.
So
You got me
it was
thinking
all
about it.
planned.
All right, let's be quick about this, but we got to do it. Let's do some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Allison, you're new. You get to go first.
I mean, I kind of peppered mine in already, but I'm still strong on the whole Lavinia Caliban bandwagon and the Frankenstein Brona bandwagon. So that's what I'm going with. I'm saying we're going to see some action happening between these two. Love.
Little double date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. I don't think that's happening. That's mine.
Jack the Ripper does not like the fact that there is another Ripper in town that is Ethan.
Ooh, I
and
like
he's
this.
coming back to claim his territory.
I like it.
Wow.
I don't even know if that's this season, but eventually.
I would love to see a storyline with a perfectly human killing evil, no supernatural, nothing. Just a dude killing people.
He's a bad guy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
All right, couple things. I'll make this as quick as I can. Vanessa, we know she's connected to these nightcomers. Was she a nightcomer herself?
Ooh.
Maybe she knew back in her
she's an
past.
ex-night-
Maybe she was an ex-nightcomer. And Lavinia, and her character, just in her character in the story, Tempest was not Tempest. Sorry, Titus. Lavinia was raped and mutilated
Oh, no.
and mutilated. So I'm thinking, just because of canon, if I know we go off canon, but maybe Lavinia's going to die.
Oh, dear.
Maybe at the hands of Caliban. Something's going to go down. And because I think she's too good of a character for her to really do anything. Something bad might happen to her. And Evelyn Poole, we know her last name is Poole. There is a character in the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's that's called Mr. Poole. So maybe we introduce some characters from that story into it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
I'm going to make a long play on my prediction this week because you stole my Lavinia prediction.
I'm so sorry.
But it's I think that's the obvious one, too. I think we're all thinking that.
Yeah.
So for sure. I'm going to say the first main character to die is going to be Sir Malcolm. And I think he's going to die at the hands of Madame Kali. Not maybe this next week, but coming up, because he's trying to get out of it. He doesn't appear to have any supernatural situation. He's now welcomed everybody into the fold with the Mina story. Everybody has their situations going down. We don't need him anymore.
I don't like it. Except to keep Vanessa sane.
Well, I would rather see her insane, to
But
tell you
you
the
know,
truth.
what I thought was when Sir Malcolm came back into London, because we saw Vanessa hiding in her room, literally doing nothing, not fighting this. The minute Malcolm stepped back into the picture, he's like, all right, what do we do? Who do we talk to? He gets the ball rolling. So what if, despite maybe his character doesn't have anything, he's the go-getter.
I'm sticking by my prediction. Also, look out for Sembene. I think he's a double agent.
I can't believe
Sembene's awesome.
We gotta know so much more about him. I gotta
He
know
talked
about
so
him.
much more tonight. I was like, Sembene.
Just
He
gonna
said
drop
more
them.
tonight than he said in all
And
season
like the
one.
whole season 1. I was like, he knows more than he's letting on too.
yeah.
Just gonna drop that out there. That's it. We're out of time. We're actually over time this week. But before we go, hey, remember, hit subscribe on YouTube or iTunes if you're listening to the podcast or the video. And you guys should follow all of us on Twitter. So, Allison, where can they do that?
Very easy. You can find me at the Alison Dean.
You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
And I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro. That's it this week on Penny Dreadful. We'll be back next Sunday. More Josh Hartnett, more Eva Green, more everything else. See you guys then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.